G'day everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Ask Tom Tech Show. My name is Tom Freer and today I'm here to talk about some of the myths around outsourcing your IT. So today we're going to talk about some of the myths around outsourcing your IT. Now, whether they're myths or misconceptions, they're generally some of the things that pop up in our conversations with businesses around how to get more value out of their IT. Now, whether these are just from previous bad experiences or just perception in the market, it's interesting how some of these come about. But really, outsourcing your IT, look, it's been something that's been done for ages, forever. I've been working in the industry for over 20 years, and over that time, it's all been about outsourcing your IT, whether it's a component of your IT or all of your IT. That process around outsourcing can be done well, and on the other hand, it can be done poorly as well. So what I wanted to talk through today is, look, some of those misconceptions or those myths, and we'll run through and how they may or may not apply to your business. And then also over the next few weeks, we're going to touch on some of the things around actually how to go about getting the best value from outsourcing your IT and ensuring that you are getting a good return on that solution. So the first thing that gets thrown at us quite a lot is it's expensive. IT is expensive. There's always a cost associated with it. And that's true. There are costs associated with every aspect of IT and technology in your business. But certainly the support and the outsourcing aspect of that isn't expensive when you put it into context of what it would cost you to run that within your own business. Now, typically for an organisation with sort of 20 to 30 staff, anywhere up to sort of 100, 120 staff, you're going to need a fair breadth of technology skill set to be able to provide support for everything that you're running in your business. It doesn't matter that you've got 20 staff, you're still using a range of systems and applications and platforms that all require support. So there's that aspect. And even as your business grows and you add more users, the technology doesn't change. Obviously the volume of calls change. So when you look at outsourcing your IT, you need to take into consideration obviously the cost of supporting that. Now, a cost that we might provide a client, I can tell you, it's when you start to look at that in comparative terms against employing your own IT person, they don't stack up. On paper, you might be able to go and employ a junior IT person to do some of the running around, but that's only a portion of what your business actually needs in relation to support. And it really limits you in the scope and visibility of what you can do with technology. Whereas when you outsource it with the right provider, it's about getting not only that junior scope and being able to troubleshoot quickly those problems that come up, but you should be getting access to senior people and senior guidance around how to best use technology in your business. And that's where the outsourcing factor really comes into it and really adds up. So when you think about IT being expensive, put it into terms of how much is it going to cost you to actually employ that person to get that level of support, because we seem to see that particularly as organisations are growing, there is this trend to want to put IT staff on, which is good in the right areas, but you've got to be really, really know where to put that in and those people in. And I'll touch on those over the coming weeks as to where you should be if you're going to invest in an internal IT person or internal resources to manage IT, where the best places are, because there are really smart ways and good ways to have that IP and that knowledge inside your business. But from a day-to-day help desk, patching, updates, maintenance, that stuff you should be getting rid of, and it shouldn't be expensive when you start looking at what it would cost you to put someone internally in that role. Now, the next thing, I've got to go to my list here because I've got a few things, is that people say it won't scale. And look, I don't believe that to be entirely accurate in the way. Outsourcing your IT will scale considerably with the right partner. Now, that's pretty critical component in there, is that if you're just working with a 1 and 2 man sort of organisation and they're doing that support for you, chances are that's where you're at and you're getting good levels of support. But as that business grows and as your business grows, are you getting the level of support that you become accustomed to? An outsourcing arrangement should be able to scale with your business, both up and down. So outsourcing will allow you to scale your business from a support perspective operationally, and the partner that you choose should be able to scale with you. And that's how we work, and that's how I find that works really, really well. Another thing that pops up is that you'll lose control. Some people feel like they're going to lose control of IT in their business if they outsource. And again, I'm here to say I don't believe that's the case. If anything, you should be gaining a lot more control over what's going on in your IT. You should get a lot more visibility around what's happening, what the type of issues are, what's happening on your network, are there any bottlenecks and performances and stuff like that. So again, a good arrangement and a good structure around your outsourcing is that you should actually end up getting more control and more visibility over what's going on, because as part of that outsource arrangement, you want to be making sure that those tools and platforms are being built in as you go. So you can get visibility not only from what's happening within the network and the bits and the bytes, but how your users are going. Are they getting the level of support they expect? How's that feedback loop happening? And are you getting visibility about what you should be doing in the future? Not both from a capacity perspective, but leveraging your investment in that IT. Now that, as a CEO and a business owner or senior manager, should actually put you more in control of what's going on with your IT. So I think that's really, really critical. And not only that, you should be getting control around the cost structure around IT. So again, the right arrangement should have you on a fixed style arrangement where you know what's included day to day, month to month. And then obviously project work and things like that should always be scoped separately. You don't want to be paying for it unless you need it, but you want to make sure that you're only paying for what you need at the time. So that's really important around getting control around the costs as well. What else have we got? I don't get the support I need. Again, I don't think that's so much a problem with outsourcing. That is more a challenge with either the way your outsourcing arrangement is structured or the partner that you're using. If I look at the way we do it within Wintech and the support we deliver our clients, our focus is on that end user. So it's all about getting quick responses and quick resolutions. We can't solve all the problems all the time, and that's IT, that's technology. But as long as there's that communication loop and that update and that feedback loop going back through to your users, then things should be happening quite well. It's the communication aspect, and where we find that you're not getting those problems solved, 9 times out of 10 it comes down to a communications issue. So it's about not getting the support you need is more about the communication you're getting and the response. But there might be aspects where there is someone that's delivering your IT and they just don't have the capacity to deliver the support you need. But again, I focus on the right partner is about knowing that they've got the capacity to deliver what you need. There's great feedback loops in place, great management of the issues that are coming in, managing those problems on a day-to-day basis, because there will be issues and there always are. It's just how they're dealt with. That sort of generally is the reason why. There's no one on site to help me. Now, yeah, in most outsourcing arrangements that is the case. You will find that most providers will be looking to deliver a high percentage of their work remotely. And that's not only to make it more efficient, but to ensure that you're getting the best outcomes. Sure, we can put someone on site, no problems at all. We can do that all day, every day. However, that obviously comes with a cost. Now, whether you're going to get return on that cost, marginal. I would think in most cases, 95% of the support that can be done remotely, hands down. It's yes, if something physically breaks or there's something smoking in the corner, who knows, you're going to need someone out on site for that. But again, with the right structure in place, the right partner, that response time should be there to be able to get someone on site when you need it. And I think that's really important. Just because you look at that as, well, if I employ someone and I've got someone on site, that doesn't mean you're going to get the level of response that you would expect. They might be able to respond to it quickly, but are they going to be able to resolve it? So you're still going to need to have that skill set and that capability to resolve some of those issues. So on that side, I think having someone on site isn't necessarily the right thing that you need. Yes, it's good to have faces to names, and look, that's part of, again, the process and making sure we're visible in that sense. But if the systems are set up right and the processes are in place and the tools are in place from your outsourced provider, 95% of your issues should be able to get solved remotely from a day-to-day operational perspective. I can hire someone internally. Well, we've sort of touched on that, and it also ties into, I could just go and hire someone offshore. Sure, you could. You can go and hire someone at quite a low rate. That's no problems at all. You can get good value, you can get good technically skilled people offshore, no problems. We use them, and that's fine, and I know lots of other partners do use it. But the difference between us using an offshore structure and a customer and an organisation using an offshore is that you don't necessarily have the framework around to support that person or support that team or know what they're doing and what they're delivering. When we use an offshore team, it's not an outsourced arrangement. It's not another organisation providing a service. It's actually our team in our office, just happens to be in the Philippines. We have one of our Australian team members who actually lives and works there. So he's able to manage and mentor and support that team. And we do a lot of work behind the scenes in making sure that team is up to speed and educated. Yep, it can have its challenges, and there's no doubt. But from the way that we do it or other organisations do it versus doing it internally, the key differentiator is that we know IT and we know technology, so we can best manage those people. As an organisation, as an owner or a CEO, I'm backing that your skill set is not IT management and IT infrastructure, and that's fine because you didn't start your business to run IT. You started your business to do whatever it is your business does. So you or even a member of your team don't want to be spending that time managing an offshore team that you don't necessarily have the structure and the frameworks in place. The right organisation and the right structure and the right outsourcing partner, yes, I would almost guarantee that most of them are using an element of offshore, and we do, but we're not offshoring. So as we are offshoring, we're not outsourcing that process. We own the process, we maintain the process, which allows us to deliver more capacity, more availability to our customers at a price point that's acceptable in the market, and that's probably the key thing. We still very much have a recruitment policy locally where we're looking to build team around, and our senior team will always remain here in Australia, and that's critical. But where we can and where it doesn't detriment our customers, we'll look to leverage some of that back office. This is a big one, and this is interesting. This one and the next one are quite. Look, I understand where they're coming from. So one of the things and the pushback we get is, I'm in the cloud, I don't need support. Again, yes, your applications are in the cloud, no doubt about it. You might have moved everything into the cloud. You might have all your data up there in your systems. But ultimately, the support aspect of that doesn't change greatly. Yes, there is less management and maintenance around managing infrastructure, servers and applications that are sitting either in your office or in a data center. But when you think truly about support, it's about the end user. So, and that's where you need to be focused, is about how productive, how efficient, how effective are my team, my end users in using the technology, whether it's in the cloud or off-site or in your office. It actually doesn't matter from that perspective. The end user is still going to need a level of support. What about the internet link? What about the local network? What about the Wi-Fi? What about if they're traveling? What happens if something goes wrong there? That's where the support needs to be focused, and the support element shouldn't be focused around your servers and infrastructure. Yep, they're gonna be needed. Whether you've got them on site or in the cloud, you still have to manage a server that sits in the cloud. But as different apps roll out and things like that, you may not have servers, but regardless, your users are still connected. You still need to make sure that the device they're using, whether it's their laptop or their PC or their phone, is maintained and managed and secured. So the type of support is different. You still need it. Just because your data and systems are in the cloud doesn't mean that you don't need support. It's a different type of support. It should be focused on the end user, and it's probably going to be more bent towards security and management and those type of things. Education, training, leverage, using the technology that you're already brought up there. So that's pretty important. And then the final one is, I've got specific applications in my business that no one knows. And I bet you do. I'm sure you do. There's heaps of them out there. And it's not about outsourcing that application or the management or the operation of the application. It's about facilitating the process. So again, the right outsource arrangement, the right partner will be able to take into consideration all those apps that you have, whether it's your accounting application, your financial application, your CAD application, your business data modeling application. It doesn't matter what it is. At the end of the day, your users need access to it. Now, the right outsourcing structure won't necessarily take over the day-to-day support of that, but they should facilitate the support of that. And what I mean by that is around, again, if we look at the user wants to be able to use the application that they need. Let's say it's the financial system. Now, the user picks up the phone and goes, I've got a problem with the financial system. Firstly, have they got to make a decision about who they call? So are they going to call the right person? So if they're calling the finance software people, that's cool. Finance software people go, no, that's an internet issue or a hardware problem. So the user's going to put the phone down and call up again, call someone else and go, oh, I've got this problem. And then, look, we see it all the time. Inevitably, that person then goes, oh, no, that's not a problem with your internet or your link. It's over here with your finance system. So you end up with this finger pointing exercise and everyone in loops. So a good outsourced arrangement and a good way to manage that is ensure that the partner is able to facilitate the process. So what that means is that your users should only have one number, one email address to call, regardless of their technology problem. And it's about giving them that efficiency. They pick up the phone and they go, I've got a problem with application X, I can't do this. The provider should be in a position to go, okay, let me have a look at that. Let me see what you're doing. Let me assess if that's a connectivity issue, is it a hardware issue, or is it actually a problem within the software? Okay, cool, we've identified what that is now. It's a problem within the software. Allow me as your IT support partner to take that to that vendor and have that discussion with them. Because what will happen then is we can have the discussion around what the problem is. We can answer all the technical issues they're likely to throw at you first up anyway, so your problem can actually get resolved faster. There's no more finger pointing, there's no more going in loops. The process should be is that your IT partner should be able to take that call, facilitate the process, identify if it's something that they can fix or if it needs to go to the third party and initiate that process. It's not about supporting the app, it's about initiating the process. So that's a really key differentiator that you need to look at, particularly when you're outsourcing anything. And people sort of stop and go, well, I'm not going to outsource because I've got all these apps and they're very particular to me. Well, how am I going to get them supported? Well, that company over there supports it, or that person there. Or I'll put on an IT person who will support all that, which inevitably they can't anyway. So it's about being smart and clever around those outsourcing arrangements and what's the best way to do it. So that's sort of, in a nutshell, some of the key things that sort of I get hit with and our team get hit with when we're having those preliminary discussions about outsourcing. And look, a lot of it comes from being burnt before about that, having challenges in the past about how that process works. So a good provider and a good structure will come in with that structure. This is how you get support. This is how we manage the process. This is what you're going to do. We'll facilitate all that for you. So I think that's pretty key. So that's some of the myths that we see around outsourcing your IT. So hopefully that gives you something to work with. And look, I'm going to come back in the next few weeks as well. We're going to have lots of conversations around different areas about how to outsource your IT, what the best ways to do it are, so you can get the best value out of it. Hope that's helpful. Speak to you soon.